Hi, good afternoon, everyone. And those of you who are fasting, Ramadan Mubarak to you. I hope you all have had a wonderful week and the weekend is going very well as well. The weather is so beautiful. So, as as mentioned before, I'm going to continue along the line of soul consciousness, the power of positive thinking. And as usual, I have a guest with me. That is Mark Fleming. He'll be actually my co-host. To be fair, and I'm going to go for a break. When I come back, I'll bring Mark on the screen and we'll have the discussion. So please do bear with me.
আমারও শান্তি থাকে তুমি এখন আইরাইনি
এরে তুমি তা কিতা কইরা শান্তির মা এই দেখো আমরা প্রবলেম সলভ আব্দুল কুদ্দুস রচিত চোজিং দি রাইট স্পাউস ওই বই দুটা তারারে দেও আর আমরা নাক ডাকাইয়া ঘুমাই এখন আমরা মুক্ত আমরা প্রবলেম সলভ
Choosing the Right Spouse. Available in the market. For your personal copy, call us right now. 07877 903 523.
So, guys, without further ado, I'm going to ask Mark to come on the show. Hi, Mark. Good afternoon. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Good afternoon. Lovely to be with you.
Lovely to have you. I hope you had a wonderful week and a great weekend.
Very nice, yes. Very good week, very good weekend. And as you mentioned, the weather is absolutely marvelous. So it's a lovely change for everyone, I think.
I was under the impression that weather never mattered to Brahma Kumaris. And I've been trying to motivate myself every single day.
Right.
When the rain or shine, life goes on.
Well, actually, that in itself is a really interesting angle because when I first came across spirituality, I thought someone who practices spirituality is beyond everything. It's like beyond hot and cold and interesting weather and nice food or anything like that. Almost kind of is floating up there somewhere. But you know what? I've noticed that even those individuals who I've recognized as being really great spiritually, and they are, I completely feel they are, but at the same time, they've got the human side. And
Yes.
the human side of them will like apple pie and ice cream or pizza and Coca-Cola. Nice weather.
Oh, that is so brilliant. It's good to know, That's the human side that connects us to other humans. And that makes us all as fellow travelers, if it makes any sense. That we are on our own journeys as a human race, as beings. So, Mark, last time we talked about soul consciousness, and you left the show by saying that having the awareness and experiencing the being, that I am a being, a soul. So in order to, I tried that, and I realized a lot of the things get in the way. So when I want to experience that being, that powerful soul that I am, I'm also conscious of the fears I have, fear of losing things, fear of not being good enough, fear of not doing my ultimate best, fear of, or being judged or being, losing things. So how do I unentangle all these layers of onion and then get to the center so that I can actually experience truly that power, that powerful being that I am?
I'll give you an interesting example. Some of you, I'm sure, had a room in your house where you've had a carpet and you've had furniture sitting there for a very long time, and then one day you just move a chair, an armchair or a sofa, and that hasn't been moved in years. And underneath it, not only do you find a few coins and other lost things, but you see a striking contrast between the condition and colour of the carpet in the regular part of the room versus the almost new looking part of the carpet underneath the chair, the sofa. And so you got so used to the gradual change of that carpet over the weeks, months, and years that you didn't really notice it. But when you're there face to face with the new carpet, new looking carpet, that is, then suddenly you're aware of the contrast. And as you indicated earlier, when you start looking at yourself, you do start to notice all sorts of, you could say, things you don't like about yourself. But it's simply because you're becoming more aware of them, just like you suddenly become aware of the state of the carpet and you see what it used to be like. So it's very important for realization, because it's only when we have realization at any level that we can have change. Now, in our life, quite often our elders, parents, seniors, or what have you, different individuals will try and make us have realization by telling us quite directly that there's something about our behavior, presentation, or
Usually wrong.
beliefs.
Something.
That's it. So they're wanting us to realize. But that's very limited because they want us to realize what they believe is true.
Yeah.
On the spiritual level, realization is using your own conscience to recognize what is true, because the conscience works independently in the sense that it's got an inbuilt recognition of what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah. That is very true. But having said that, which you mentioned, that our parents, grandparents, whoever told us all this stuff, or our spouses, ex-spouses, given us too many adjectives. So when you heard something over and over and over again, kind of gets registered in your head, and then you fail to distinguish what is the truth and what is the false, because you heard that wrong information so many times and you felt it so deeply. Now you kind of own it, which may not be the true nature of who you are or true self. So
How? Yes. Okay. We continue with that then. How?
how we unentangle.
It's actually also connected to realization, but it starts with understanding. I remember many years ago, there was this person who, I think his name was George, actually came to a positive thinking course, and he'd always been told from a young boy that, George, you're going to account for nothing. His mother used to tell him that. You're going to account to nothing in your life. And that was like echoing in his mind throughout his life. And basically, he never did account for anything. And he must have been in his 50s when he took what we call the positive thinking course. And I don't remember the actual session, but he became inspired because he understood that one thing is what people say to you, but another thing is what you say to yourself. And what you say to yourself is far more important. So you need a filter in between what comes to you and what you actually accept. And just to continue that story with George, the reason I mention it is that during the actually taking this positive thinking course, he got his first job in his life.
Oh, wow.
So he was absolutely thrilled. So he felt, I do amount to something. So in other words, someone is willing to pay me money for something I do. So that
Yeah.
gave him a lot of value.
So would you say that is also kind of linked to his self-worth, because he had very low self-esteem, low self-worth?
That's
As a
right.
result, he didn't think his time and effort was worth anything.
Yes, I mean, he probably never evaluated how what he'd been told earlier was actually affecting him getting a job directly. He just
Yeah.
felt generally that he wasn't worth much. But this course, I mean, it could have been any kind of course, but of self-development, but this particular one made him aware that he has value, and the all of the courses that were taught by Brahma Kumaris in particular are related to your inner qualities and strengths. And so when you start basing your feeling of self-worth on
Yeah.
yourself, on your qualities,
Yeah.
your strengths, then that's very independent from everything else and everyone else. That gives you power, stability.
So, in order, what I understood, Mark, that's my journey, and I don't know, probably other people felt the same. When I tried to experience myself, when I tried to get to that core, I the other principle which I really needed to understand and apply into my own life, there was the power of detachment. So power of detachment, to what I took it to mean, is that you give up ownership of things, ownership of people, ownership of your wealth, ownership of your children, ownership of all your certificates. It went down to the level that I had to kind of give up ownership of my physical self, this body, and I come to the realization that this is actually a gift that has been entrusted to me for me to take good care of it, which is housing me, if it makes any sense, my temporary house. So the day I understood that this is my shelter, it carries me. I need to take good care of it. I cannot abuse it because it is a gift. It is entrusted to me, and I'm a trustee. So I became a trustee of, like, my physical well-being, trustee of my children, trustee of everything I to this point I ever owned. Only then I was able to actually remove the fear. It hasn't gone completely, it does come back, and I think it probably is not so bad. That fear is also kind of my alert system that is telling me that I need to be more careful, I need to do things differently, I need to tweak things here and there. So only then I could actually feel that I could not only understand the concept of being, but also feel that freedom that I was dying for, I was yearning for. I don't know if it made any sense to you, and if you'd like to elaborate.
Yes, certainly. Well, I was thinking how you described that so wonderfully. I mean, I couldn't put it better myself. So it's a
Oh,
very
thank you.
good
So,
description,
Mark,
and
what
of
is
course you've been through it. It's your personal journey. So experience has 1,000 times more value than just information. So it's wonderful you've been through that. The only thing I'd add onto that is that you said you let give up, and it's true we do, but actually that giving up is more like a realization because you don't actually own anything anyway. This is
yeah,
the big illusion
it
because of
is.
course we come into the world with nothing, and we go out of the world with nothing. So
And
what
also
do you?
alone.
Sorry?
We come alone and we go back
Yeah.
alone.
That's it. So what is yours anyways? Nothing. So it's actually just realizing that. That's why within the subject of detachment or freedom, there is knowledge or wisdom, because it's the knowledge or wisdom which gives us an eye to see in a way that we weren't able to see before. Just like you had that experience and that journey of kind of giving up these different
Yeah.
things, which was basically a journey of realization, and enjoyed freedom on the way. So, what
I
do you
think,
actually give
yeah,
up?
I think you are so right. So when I said, and thank you for clarifying what giving up means. Giving up doesn't mean you give up. Giving up means you take better care of things. You become more alert. You become more resourceful because you don't have the fear in the background, and you don't have the burden, if you like, the burden of the world on your shoulders to please people, to please this person, that person, and then you have conflict. In order to please one person, you may displease somebody else. So you remove all of that because that is none of your problem. And also people who then are no longer part of your journey, people who are not, even if there is a breakup, relationship breakup, whatever, you come to take it in a different way. You don't look at it as a loss as such, or something, loss. Even if it is a unhealthy relationship, people feel there is something they have, they're holding on to something.
Yes, I think it's certainly a journey because first is understanding. It means it's essential to have understanding because without a new kind of body of knowledge, a new kind of perspective on yourself and life and how things really work, then it's not possible to really give up or let go of anything. So definitely, it starts with understanding. But then we need to internalize that understanding to the point of experience. And I think that's where contemplation, meditation comes in to actually spend time and contemplate and think about these new ideas, like what you hear on this radio show or what you read in the books or scriptures. So all of these things are for thinking about and to think about in the current context. And especially if you're reading things which were written many centuries ago, it's very good to see and ask the question, okay, well, what does that mean to me now? What does that mean
Mm-hmm.
in the current context of life? Because things which are spiritual, religious, these things are usually applicable at all times. They were
Mm-hmm.
applicable when they were written, and they should be applicable now and in another 100 years or whatever. So we need that understanding and experience, and then application of that knowledge in our practical life, where it actually gives us a form of happiness to be able to live in a way free from
Mm-hmm.
attachment, free from reaction, dependency. But I will add, it's a journey, and you're going to mess up.
Yeah, big time.
Yes, because that happens. You're going to say things you regret, do things you regret. So I think it's a journey of firstly clarifying for the self, then changing the nature or quality of your actions and interactions,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with your habit of reaction, especially anger or accusation, blame,
Mm-hmm.
because blame and
It's
anger, they,
very challenging, Mark.
yeah, it is.
Extremely challenging.
It is. I remember reading somewhere that, and I agreed with it, that blame is at the root of all emotion. So either you're blaming yourself or you're
Mm-hmm.
blaming someone else or
Yeah,
something else. Like who put that there?
yeah,
Is a form of blame. And when you look at it, if you remove blame,
mm-hmm.
suddenly you're free. And the opposite of blame is responsibility. And it
Yes,
doesn't mean that I'm responsible for all of the problems in the world, but I'm responsible for my feelings and
yeah.
my responses. That's the bottom line.
I was reading a book called The Choice, and the author was in the Nazi concentration camp. And one thing she said, which is very powerful, she said, "I have a choice. I survived. Do I want to live in guilt and be depressed, or I have a choice that to be present where I am now and to appreciate what I have." And I think a lot of the times we respond to things, not respond, we react to things based on our past experiences, and then past habits come into play. And then the worst part on my part is this, that a lot of the time I'm aware that I shouldn't be getting triggered. But I said, well, like you said, I'm a human, yeah. So I play my
Yes.
human part. I get all worked up, and then I calm down.
Well, I think you started off by describing the onion,
Yes,
and every time you peel a layer from the onion, you'll probably end up crying because
true.
that's what the onion does to you, isn't it? It makes people cry because of the
Yes,
chemicals in it. So
yeah, very much
so
so.
in the same way, every time you're triggered, that will create that's creating tears. But what is it? It's I'm holding on to some layer of story. So a story which I've accepted is describing something about me. And just like you mentioned about the choice, that book called The
Hmm.
Choice. So she so wisely recognized that she has a choice on how to respond. So she didn't have a
Yeah.
choice on what was going on, but she had a choice in her response. And this is the same for all of us. And sometimes we can choose what to influence what's going on, but most of the time the choice is how do you respond? How do you take it inside? And what meaning do you give it? So
Hmm.
someone says something to you, and your habit is to take it as they're insulting you, and then immediately you feel the reaction, unhappiness, and anger. Then that means
Yeah.
it's like I'm the puppet on the string. Every time someone speaks to me in a
Positive
negative
way.
way, or if it's a negative way, that it
Yeah,
immediately triggers. And if, of course, if it's positive, then that's all very
makes
good.
me. Yeah, it makes me fly. Yeah,
Yeah, it makes you fly.
not
Yeah.
so much, not so much in my case, but I think generally it does happen when somebody compliment us. Then we also become big. We give away so much of our power because we rely
Mm.
on validation from others. And then when you feel good because somebody complimented us, we give away so much power to the person who complimented us because the next thing could be a criticism by the same person and it will take us down.
Yes, there's a wonderful saying that Brahma Kumaris have, and it's interesting because and what it is uh, whatever happened was good, whatever is
Yeah.
happening is very good, and whatever will happen will be very, very good. Now,
On this note, on this note, Mark, we are going to go for a short break and then
okay,
come back for very, very good stuff. So,
very
guys,
good.
stay with us.
আমারও শান্তি থাকে তুমি এখন আইরাইনি
এরে তুমি তা কিতা কইরা শান্তির মা এই দেখো আমরা প্রবলেম সলভ আব্দুল কুদ্দুস রচিত চৌজিঙ্গি রাইটস পাউচ ওই বই দুটা তারারে দেও আর আমরা নাক ডাকাইয়া ঘুমাই এখন আমরা মুক্ত আমরা প্রবলেম সলভ
Choosing the right spouse. Available in the market. For your personal copy, call us right now. 07877 903 523.
Hi, we're back again. Yeah, so you were saying something, Mark.
Yes. What was I saying?
What has happened that was good?
I'm sorry. Yes. So
Yeah,
whatever happened was good.
yeah,
Whatever is happening is very good, and whatever will happen will be very, very good. And
yeah.
it sounds a bit kind of blasé, really, to say that because you could think, well, what happened was horrible. It made me cry. It gave me so much upset, or I had so much pain and sorrow in my life. So how can
Yeah,
you say it was good? But no, on the surface, it may have been really bad. So it's not trying to make light of really horrible, difficult, challenging, or even abusive situations, because all
hmm,
sorts of these things are happening. But the point still comes back to the main issue, which is how do I take it? And
yeah,
ordinary life, ordinary influences all tell you get upset, feel pain, feel anger, react, and have a go back. That's what we're taught by all of the films and whatnot. And in fact, just for a moment, if you most films I've noticed, uh,
yeah.
the goodie, and there's not that much difference between the so-called goodie and the baddie, but in the first 5 minutes of the film, they just have to get the moral high ground sorted out. So someone has to do something bad to the
Interrupting the
goodie.
drama.
That's it. So the goodie's now positioned is in the moral high ground, and from then onwards he can kill and slaughter as many people as he likes because he's the goody now. But of course, it's not as simple as that. Uh, uh, so much stuff happens, and it's actually to recognize that my thoughts about it are
Yeah.
influencing me, and they're also going to influence my environment in the sense of the people I connect with. So thinking of the past as very good is meaning just try
Mm-hmm.
and take it as a learning, as an understanding, or it empowered you, it made you tolerant, patient, it made you realize. So good from that perspective. And then the present, if I have the attitude, it's very good. It means look for the good. There's plenty of bad, but look for the good. And so if I can color my attitude, again, it's not like rose tinted spectacles where I
Mm-hmm.
just kind of naive and say, hey, someone's trying to kill me. Oh, very good. No,
This is what I was going to ask you. So I say everything is good, and then somebody is killing me. How could
exactly.
that be good?
So that's not good.
Like the, for example, the Rohingya situation. They're being murdered, slaughtered, and also same continuing, same kind of slaughter onslaught continuing in Burma.
Yeah.
So
So of course,
if
none of these
somebody's
things.
in that situation,
So none of these situations you can't call them good by any means. They're
no,
terrible and
yeah.
painful. But the
If you
good,
survive, if you survive,
if you survive, yeah, if you survive, or whether you're in it or you're watching it, but the good is to
yeah,
take a lesson or to see what's empowering you. Because if you look, every time you go through a really difficult situation
yeah,
and you come out the other end, you are different. You're more
true.
powerful. You're tolerant, resilient. You're more free. You're freer. It may be
Having said
painful.
that, Mark, having said that, um, I've only um, because I'm doing a lot of research and also I'm paying attention to my own self. We kind of, because of our behavior, we do not, unless we want to change, unless we want to take the lesson and contemplate on it, we actually carry on portraying the same kind of behavior and attracting similar kind of people into our lives, and then we continue to go through the same cycle over and over again with different people now because we haven't changed.
Absolutely, and not just with different people, but if you're involved in business, you may have started so many and had the same sort of disasters or same
One
sort
after
of.
another, yeah.
I know someone who many times has got into business with people that have ripped him off, and so what's going on there is
Yeah.
that inner habits, and
Yes.
so we have to come face to face with the reality that, well, if we take up the thing with people, partners,
Yeah.
that there's 7.8 billion people in the world, and how comes I'm finding the ones that are giving me a
Haven't
really
found the right one.
hard time. Surely, out of that 7.8 billion, there's one or two that I could have a nice experience with, a good relationship with, and there are. So it's actually the story I keep telling myself, and
Yeah.
if you listen to what other people say, it's
Mm-hmm.
actually quite easy to start understanding these dynamics. So just listen when
Mm-hmm.
someone else is saying, "Oh, all the people that I get to know always try and misuse me or abuse me or take me for granted."
Mm-hmm.
That self-talk is inviting that kind of attitude or behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And if a real test of this is if you're in front of someone who is
Mm-hmm.
has very low self-respect and almost like kind of almost saying abuse me. They're not saying that, but almost like kind of they almost expect to be abused. Just notice your thoughts and feelings at that time.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make extra work to give respect.
I worked with I've done a lot of extensive work with victims of abuse, and a lot of the time, if you read their case histories and stuff, what tends to happen, they come out of one abusive, the victim comes out of one abusive relationship only to end up into a similar one, or one that is worse than the one they're fleeing from. And the reason, so I did some research, and the reason why they do it, because they feel comfortable with the devil they know than the devil they don't. So they feel home with what they have previously experienced, because they feel safe knowing that this is exactly what they're going to get.
Yes, it's strange, isn't it? That is
The
just,
vicious cycle.
it's a vicious cycle. It's actually, it's a vicious cycle simply because in this context it's vicious, it's nasty, and it's sorrowful. But
Yeah.
actually, if you put aside the actual individual experiences, it's
Mm-hmm.
the law, the natural law, which is
Mm-hmm.
you attract into your life according to what you are. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
reading something, although it's so good. You don't get what you want in life, you get according to what you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you an example. Supposing someone wants to be wealthy, rich, but they're trying to become rich by feeling they are poor. It won't happen. Wealth doesn't run to people who are poor minded, it runs to
The
people who
law,
are,
yeah, law of attraction that is in play. So the person
yes,
who is feeling not that they're horrible because they're experiencing abuse, but they have been they have been abused to the extent that their belief system has now changed, and
yes,
they believe they're not worth better than what they had or what they are getting now. Not because this is not the truth. The truth is we all are entitled to happiness, entitled to live with dignity, are entitled to respect. But because this person has been told so many times by someone before that you are not worth anything, and that got registered in their system, and
mhm,
that is why their their vibration level is low, and they're attracting the similar kind of people they were in a relationship with before.
yeah, exactly that. That's the dynamics of how it's working. Law of attraction is, we've got these inbuilt programs, subconscious programs, which are just running that program again and again. So, in the context of relationships, I have an inbuilt program. In the context of money or business or work, I have
Yeah.
an inbuilt program. And if you don't interfere with those programs, they will keep on running. They're
Yes.
automatic.
Yes.
So,
So yeah, go on.
to,
Yeah.
the way to interrupt them is first of all become aware, conscious that you are running these programs an awful lot of the time, because
Mm-hmm.
most of our consciousness is subconscious. Uh, it's all to do with the feelings. But to interrupt those, one of the key
Mm-hmm.
ways is to, as much as possible, do things with understanding. In other words, be conscious of what
Mm-hmm.
you're saying. I mean, obviously, you're conscious on one level, but try and become more aware of what you're
Mm-hmm.
speaking, what you're, what's behind your thoughts, what's behind
Mm-hmm.
your feelings. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like the inner work. And but as you do it, you get so much reward. And just think about how much people are willing to invest in studying and working to become wealthy or to get a house and bring up a family and all of that. So much investment of time and energy and mental attention. But the effort applied on this level of understanding yourself will give you so much more reward.
Mm-hmm. So we have, as human beings, I was reading somewhere that we have around 90,000 thoughts a day. So we have
Mm,
a very busy mind, which is always thinking if there is no problem creating one or one thing or another. So in order to have that level of understanding, I think from my previous conversations with yourself and others, meditation is the way to actually remove those, not only those layers of dust we have that's been gathered over a lifetime, but also quietening the mind. so that we can become more what do you call, more true to ourselves, and not looking at things through the spectacles. We are looking at things for what they are. We are not adding anything to it. We are not removing anything to it, just seeing it for what it is, removing the emotions. And meditation was mentioned as a way of getting there. So just wondering, if you'd like to perhaps give a few tips around how to meditate for people who are not familiar with the concept.
Yes, certainly. Just to clarify on one aspect there about seeing everything as it is, because I've
Mm-hmm,
actually thought quite a lot about this. That
mm-hmm,
I'm not sure if anyone really can see anything as it is,
mm-hmm.
because it is many things to many people.
True, based on our perceptions, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the just to
So
see things.
how do we then remove? How do we then observe things? And I guess we probably won't see the truth.
I think what it is because we all have a story and we're seeing with the
Yeah.
story. Excuse me. So we're relating our story with the scene. Like someone does something with another person, and based on
Yeah.
my past experiences or just simply things I've seen, I
Mm-hmm,
will relate with that scene according to my past experience. So I
mm-hmm,
think it's really about starting off. It's really about being simply the observer and noting whenever any application of my story comes up to apply to the scene and try
mm-hmm,
and back off from applying that my own influences to whatever scene I'm observing, whether it's general, whether it's something or someone in my life. So I
mm-hmm.
think that's the first thing, and meditation comes in because, as we mentioned earlier, is about what you tell yourself.
Yes.
So to actually turn your mind in upon yourself and actually think about yourself, the one who's living the life, the inner being, the inner consciousness, and start to focus your thought energy on you, the experiencer, you, the
Mm-hmm,
thinker, you, the one who feels. When you focus your energy on the origin of your life, which is the deeper you, then
mm-hmm,
automatically your mind becomes cool, calm, peaceful, powerful, and automatically also you disengage, you let go from gripping anything externally because the world's continuing. It doesn't stop for me just because I'm
mm-hmm.
meditating.
Very
everything
true.
will, everything will keep on happening. People moving, people thinking. I'm whizzing around the sun along with everyone else on the planet. But in my mind, just for a little
Mm-hmm,
while, I've been able to disengage from the constant movement of the human story, and
mm-hmm,
that's really, really useful because it gives you a powerful perspective. And I think anyone who learns meditation
mm-hmm,
definitely has a very good card up their sleeve, so to speak, because it gives you that ability to touch base with your real self and
mm-hmm,
let go of any painful scenes. In fact, it can even give you the internal positioning of not allowing external scenes to hurt you or harm you in any way.
that is like if you're physically still alive. So if
It
you're
does
in a
help.
danger zone, you're in a danger zone, you have to run. You have to do whatever you need to do, even to defend yourself and keep this keep this shell alive. Otherwise, you are gone.
Well,
Um,
yeah, definitely you have to look after your body. But we'll just share one thing is that there's been so many experiences of people who have the practice of meditation that in a dangerous situation, like I know a few times, some of the sisters were alone, and a group of guys were going for her, but she couldn't run in that particular circumstance, but she turned within and tapped into a silence power, and
okay.
because she tapped into silence power,
Yeah.
they changed their mind and went away.
Wow.
So that's the power of spirituality. So yes, if you can run
I
or move,
wouldn't take this risk, Mark. At this stage, I don't feel I'm powerful enough. I'll probably run.
well, if you
But
can run, run. Don't wait and try and test out your spiritual power.
no.
Not if there's an opening and you've got a good pair of trainers on.
Yeah. Um. One more thing I wanted to actually discuss a bit, and that is when we detach, like power of detachment. That's when we detach. We all in daily life, we all yearn for an identity, when to belong to someone, to a group, to a family, to something. This is a human psychological need. So when we try to um, that's again my experience. I don't know if that is yours as well. So when I try to actually detach myself from this world and everything that was causing me pain, and I came to this freedom that I enjoy now, thanks to that knowledge. One more thing I had to do, and that is I had to attach myself to something that is far more powerful than anything I've ever known. I certainly believe in, I call him Allah. Some people call him God. Some people call him Jehovah. Some people call superpower. Some people call the super being, so, or universe. So I found that was very important for me. Then when I detached myself from all of that, I needed to actually upgrade my attachment, what do you call attachment kind of object. So from all these unnecessary things to something that is so much more powerful, that I felt being pulled up from all that doubts, all that negativity that I had in my life.
Yeah, I think Allah means the beautiful one, doesn't it? Is that
Allah,
right?
I I don't know what Allah means.
I think it means the beautiful. Well, someone can correct me anyway. I think it means that. And the way I see God or Allah, or like you said, all those different names, is the a being who is nothing but, let's say, beautiful, but beautiful in the sense of
Your
total love, total peace, total purity, total
total power.
wisdom, total power. Yes,
Yes.
and a living being. And so, whatever you focus your mind on, you are making an energetic connection with that. If you
Yes.
focus your mind on another person, you're connected energetically with them. If you focus your mind on a film, you're making a connection with that film. Same
Mm-hmm.
principle. You focus your mind on Allah, on God,
Mm-hmm.
however, and according to the way you understand or perceive Allah, so
Mm-hmm.
accordingly will be your experience.
Very
And
true.
so I don't know so much about the Muslim set of prayer, but I do know from the Christian perspective that quite often there's a lot of worry about how God is seeing them.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I feel God is looking at me with a stern eye, then that's going to be the basis of my experience.
Mm-hmm.
So what I found personally, because within the context of spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
Allah is very important, because when I connect with a being
Yeah.
whom I'm holding in my mind as absolutely pure, complete truth, one who's a benefactor, one who's like a unlimited in love, in peace, in bliss, and that one knows me as
Yes.
child, that I belong to him. And so I can have that connection. And like you say,
Mm-hmm.
you feel as if you're being pulled beyond all the limitations. And so
Yes.
actually connecting with the thing about detachment is more actually attached to God, attached to Allah, then you're free from attachment to everything and everyone else. And there's a saying, well, not about saying, there's an understanding that that you are being loving and detached. So to love God, you have to be detached from everything else. But I don't really like that English word detachment because it sounds a bit cold and cool, a bit overly cool.
What would
It's
you use then?
well, I don't. I just retranslate it in my mind to mean freedom from attachment. Although it seems like I'm playing with words, but the feeling is very different. So it means it's an understanding. That's why I would say detachment really is
Yeah.
love with understanding. So I can have love for someone because I have the understanding I'm a spiritual being, they're a spiritual being. These bodies obviously are temporary. We all know that. We might not live like it is, but we all know is the truth. And that connection with Allah as well, which is a very, very powerful and important connection. In fact, my experiences when
Yeah.
I've connected, and I keep using the word Allah, when I've connected, because I'm happy, equally good for me. When I connect with Allah, I feel such an incredible silence power, almost like a magnet. And it's like He's pulling me closer to Him. But what's actually happening? I'm being pulled closer to myself. And as I release my grip and holding on superficial ideas, superficial attachments, as I let go from that, not only do I start to realize I don't need to hold any of that in my mind, but equally I'm pulled closer to Allah. And just the experience becomes so sublime, so beautiful, and powerful as well. And a powerful meaning silent, stable, free. That's been my experience.
Mine as well, Mark.
Mhm.
I feel freedom is the fundamental experience that I'm having through spirituality, because that's my taking. I feel as human beings, we don't want to be controlled by anyone. We don't want to live
No.
under constant fear. We don't want to live under constant worries and limitation that oh, I can only do so much, or trying to control things. It also, what it done, it also allowed me to, when I'm aware, which is so beautiful, when I'm aware and when I live things, and I just watch the drama being unfolded, there is so much excitement in there. It's like magical. To give you an example, one day I was meditating with a group of people, and the person who was leading meditation, she said, if you um, I think something like, if you want to connect with someone, you can also connect with them through meditation. You don't have to verbally communicate. And one of my university friends, I lost contact with her, and she was my best friend at the uni. And I kind of missed her. And as we were doing the meditation, in my mind, I was thinking of her. And I was thinking what she's up to, because she was traveling a lot, and I was wondering, and I was trying to I was sending her a lot of love and good wishes. I was so surprised. A week later, another friend contacted me on Facebook, and she said, "Hey, so and so is looking for you. She asked for your contact number. Shall I give her your phone number?" I said, "Of course, I was looking for her." So I couldn't believe, and we reconnected. Ever since then, we are still in touch, and that was such a wonderful, wonderful, magical moment for me, because I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it, when things like that happen? And like you say, it's the power of the mind,
It
and
is.
and especially in meditation, because in meditation your mind is calmer and
Yeah.
therefore in a more powerful state. So when you remember someone in meditation, then definitely the thought reaches, and
Yeah,
it's
and
a
you know
good.
what? Life
Go on.
becomes so much more interesting, because ever since then, not only am I smiling more, but I find so much joy in doing things, and I have so much energy, so much motivation, so many more dreams. Like, I haven't given up on anything. I actually gained more
Mm.
because I have just increased my capacity. Sorry, it was my phone. I think I might have meditated and sent connection to somebody else.
Did you remember that person?
Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
that's the and just so imagine that's the effect of remembering a human being. So in the same way, if you remember Allah, then
yeah,
you connect with that one who's absolutely clean and pure and true. So therefore, that you get the reciprocation in the form of power, of energy.
yeah.
So that's an immediate response to our remembrance or thoughts of the Supreme, of Allah.
That is so wonderful. So, Mark, we're going to go for another break.
Okay?
Um, so we'll come back shortly.
আমারও শান্তি থাকে তুমি এখন আইরাইনি
এরে তুমি তা কিতা কইরা শান্তির মা এই দেখো আমরার প্রবলেম সলভ আব্দুল কুদ্দুস রচিত চৌজঙ্গি রাইট পাউচ ওই বই দুটা তারারে দেও আর আমরা নাক ডাকাইয়া ঘুমাই এখন আমরা মুক্ত আমরার প্রবলেম সলভ
Choosing the right spouse. Available in the market. For your personal copy, call us right now. 07877 903 523.
Yeah, so we're back again. We're in the last segment. Yeah, sorry. So we're talking about connecting connecting with a bigger powerhouse. When we detach from one thing, we connect with something bigger, something that's more powerful, more stable, more stabilizing, something that makes us actualize our full potential, because as human beings we are on this planet. So we're having some technical issue, I think. So we all are here to fulfill some purpose, and a lot of the time the drama of life get us entangled in unnecessary knots. And what Mark was saying, spiritual power, spirituality actually gives us a way to unentangle ourselves and find the path which we're supposed to follow, and also become the very best version of who we could be. So Mark, we're on the last segment. If you'd like to add a little bit more, and perhaps it would be nice if you could do a short meditation as well.
Certainly, very happy to. So maybe just to kind of summarize this aspect of the power of detachment. It's a power because you're finally free from all the push and pull that's been going on in your life. You're finally free from being played by other people. And very often the other people don't necessarily intend to play you. It's just that's their programming. So they're under their own influence actually. And so you can just imagine this whole kind of globe of people, everyone playing each other and
Yes.
mostly not even realizing they're doing it. But to actually have that internal awareness means you can opt out of that game. And so that makes you a master. It reminds me of this book where it said the book was called in the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
Okay.
If it wasn't a book, it was a saying. I can't remember now. But the one-eyed man in this context means the one who's got the one eye, means the eye of internal sight, spiritual sight. And the blind doesn't mean the one who can't see with these eyes, but the one who doesn't see the truth, who can't see what's going on in his own mind. That's the blind.
Yeah.
And so the one who awakens is king. And of course, not trying to be king of anyone else, but king of the self. It means
So.
master of your own thoughts, master of your words, master of your actions. So just imagine
Mm-hmm.
the extreme joy and happiness that comes when you can walk and move through life knowing that you are a master of your own self and that you can deal with whatever situation comes up. You don't know what's going to come up. It's like that inner faith, that inner
Yes.
trust. Whatever happens, I've got what it takes. And if I haven't got it, then Allah's got it and He will help
Yes.
me.
Yes. Definitely. Yes. Like I mentioned before, for me, freedom brings absolute joy. Freedom from unnecessary dramas, unnecessary problem, and like you said, a lot of the stuff people do to each other, um, not because they want to, but it's kind of habitual, and also it's not really necessarily it's my problem that somebody else lost their cool, or they have issues, they have insecurities. I'm not responsible for that. It's their problem. So the moment you understand that, and you kind of disown this unnecessary burden, life becomes lighter, and you feel you are free. And that, for me, that's the absolute beauty and joy that I'm experiencing. And I think as human beings, we all need that. Unless we feel free, unless we feel that we are fulfilling our purpose, we probably won't feel happiness. We probably won't feel joy, and we will always search for something else.
Definitely, yes. Very well summarized.
So, would you like to
Yes,
do
certainly.
meditation?
So, sitting comfortably, sitting alert. Obviously, if you're driving, then it's probably best not to follow this. But
Please
otherwise,
don't. We're not responsible for your action.
yes, that's it. Everyone responsible for their own self. But otherwise, take a deep breath in and breathe out slowly, relaxing completely. And allow your whole body to relax and let go. And very consciously allowing every muscle in your body to completely relax and release. From your toes to your head, relax. And in this relaxed state, start to observe your thoughts, your mind, allowing whatever thoughts that come in your mind to just come and go as they are. And they can be in many different forms, as words or feelings, as images, or maybe you don't notice anything. That's all good. And start to become aware that there's that deeper aspect or part of you who's the observer, who's witnessing this very moment. There's that part of you who's the critiquer, who critiques each scene, each event, and even now, that part of you that's categorizing, editing, having thoughts about this very moment. Just to ask, what would it be like if I let go just for a moment of any need to analyze, to critique, to categorize, and just allow every thought to come and go as it is, every feeling to emerge and merge without categorizing, and even the memories in the mind, whatever comes up, to just allow everything to be as it is. And as you look deeper inside, perhaps you may start to notice that there's a depth of peace, even silence within, that your original nature as a living being really is peace, that you're full of peace, full of love, full of joy, and in a very sweet way to emerge God, Allah, in front of you, and feel that great total love, this purest of pure being has for the self, filling the self, the Ruh, the soul, with so much love, so much peace, and so much power. Nothing I especially need to do, but sit under those rays, those waves of highest energy. So just imagine being filled with peace, filled with love, and feeling so safe, so secure. That you can go anywhere and do anything, and all the time you have that assurance of your own truth and the company of the highest with you. So who are you? A very pure, very powerful, very peaceful, beautiful soul. So why not live from this place of comfort and happiness? Om Shanti, meaning I am peace.
I am peace. Thank you, Mark. I just wanted to say to the viewers, this program is designed to help people become free from pain, from limitations, from depression, from anxiety. So if you are watching, I would urge you to consider the concept a little bit, because if I'm not here just because I want to be on the media, I don't care. Mark is not here because he wants to be on the media. We are here because we feel what have benefited us. We are under an obligation to share that knowledge. And this is called dharma. We are fulfilling a little bit of our purpose in trying to enrich other people's lives by sharing this knowledge. So, Mark, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. And next week, I think you and I had a chat. We're going to discuss how to master your mind. So we look forward to seeing you all. And if you like the program, please give like so that you get notification. If you like the programs, leave comments so that we know you are watching. And if you have any questions, you can, maybe not in the next show, but in the future, you could call us, and I'll probably take some calls. So thanks once again, Mark. And we're going to end the show right now.
Wonderful.
See you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Would you like to add anything else before we go, Mark?
Be happy. Take care.
Be happy. Yeah. And stay safe.
And stay safe.
So see you at the right at this place next week at the same time. Stay safe, stay well, and like Mark said, be happy. Bye now.